Hello everyone. We're going to be solving the question we have on the screen, and it says x factorial over 6 factorial equals 7 factorial. Now, before we talk about this question, I'd like to put you guys through what factorial is all about. So for people that have not really been familiar with the term factorial, so that you can do well to go along with us. So when we say 2 factorial, it means 2 times 1. That is, you keep multiplying by the next number, next lower number to be precise. The next number when you have reduced by 1. So it means if I have 5 factorial, so I'm going to be having it as starting from 5, then multiplied by the next lower number, which is 4. Then followed by multiplication by 3, then times 2 until we get to 1 times 1. So this is what 5 factorial is all about. So when we say 8 factorial or 4 factorial, it means we are going to be starting from 4, which is going to be 4, then multiply by 3, then multiply by 2, then multiply by 1. That is what factorial is all about. So having gotten this understanding, let's progress to the question. So we have x factorial over 6 factorial equals 7 factorial. So what we're going to be doing here is we are going to be cross multiplying. So after cross multiplication, we're going to be getting x factorial equals 7 factorial multiplied by, then we have 6 factorial, as in this case. Then we are going to be expanding both 7 factorial and 6 factorial. So that is, we're going to be having how that x factorial equals, so let me expand, I'll be having 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2, then times 1. Of course, I'm going to be doing the same thing with 6 factorial. So I'm going to be having, let me write it, let me leave a space, a little bit of space. So I'll be having times, then 6 factorial is going to be 6 times 1 times 5, then times 4, then times 3, then times 2, then times 1. So having gotten this, now we now begin to look into certain things. Now, you remember that when we have h factorial, it's definitely going to be equal to 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3, then times 2, then times 1. So this is what h factorial should be. Now, from what we have under 6 factorial here, it's easy to see that 4 multiplied by 2 would give us 8. So instead of me having 4 times 2, I'm going to be combining them together to get 8. Then I'm going to be adding it to what we have here. So I'm going to be multiplying it rather with what we have here. So it becomes, then it becomes 8 now. This 8, 4 multiplied by 2, the 8 I'm getting here is what I'm going to be writing here now. So we have 8, then multiplied by 7, then times 6, then times 5, then times 4, then times 3, times 2, then times 1. So I have this already. So 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 and times 1. Of course, then I'll be having times, since 4 times 2 has been taken over to this side to get 8. So I'm going to be removing 4 and 2 now. So I'm going to be having times 6, then times 5, then times 3, then times 1. So since I've been able to get that, then I'll progress. So everything now equals x factorial. Then again, I'm going to be looking at what I have here. What I have here. Again, like how can I get 9? So that I'm going to be having 9 factorial, which is same thing as 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 and times 1. So since I have from 8 to 1 already in this, so all I need to do is have 9 to get 9 factorial. So let's quickly look at how we can get that. Now, from 6 times 5 times 3 times 1, I can write them as, instead of writing this, I can split 6 into 2 times 3, then times 5, then times 3, then times 1. Of course, 2 times 3 is the same thing as 6. So I split 6 into 2 times 3. After splitting into 2 times 3, now take note of something. Discover that we can get 3 times 3 to give us 9. And instead of me writing 3 times 3, I'm going to be writing 9. I'm going to be joining it to this part. So let's quickly do that. So I'll be having equals 9 now. Instead of writing 3 times 3 here, so I'm writing 9. So equals 9. Then times 8, then times 7, then times 6, then times 5, then times 3, then times 2, then times 1. Then I'll be removing this 3 times 3 because I've added 9 here. So let's quickly remove 3 and 3 now. So I'll be having 2 times 5 times 1. So let's quickly get that done. So times 1, then I'll be having 2 times 3, 2 times 5 times 1. So multiplied by, so I have 2 times 5, then times 1. And of course, I believe you know that 2 times 5 times 1 is 10. So since 2 times 5 times 1 is 10, so I'm not going to be writing 2 times 5 times 1. I'm going to be writing 10 now. So and I'm going to be bringing the 10 to this side. So let's quickly get that done. So I have equals, then 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2, then times 1. So I'm not writing 2 times 5. I've written 10. So that means we have x factorial equals this, then x factorial also equals this. So 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, as we have here, is the same thing as 10 factorial. So I'm going to be compressing the whole of these into 10 factorial. Now let's do that. So we have x factorial equals 10 factorial. And as you can see, when I equate the right hand side with the left hand side, it's easy to discover that if factorial here is same thing as the factorial here, it means x will definitely be 10. So it implies that x equals 10. So the final answer to x is 10. I believe it's quite explanatory. Now please do well to follow, to like, to share, and to comment. Anticipate for more videos like this. You are great.